I got a really cool episode for you today. Maybe you're one of these businesses that are really active on social media, or maybe you're thinking of becoming really active on social media. Well, there's some things I want to share with you today, but to do so, we need to borrow this sign, as in like steal it. But don't worry, I'm going to return it. Good Marc TV morning. You know, every time I talk to a business owner about social media, they all seem to have this common belief that whatever they post on social media will be of interest to everybody. I mean, not just their customers and clients, but like the whole world. Now, I can only guess this is because of what they've heard from social media experts who've been telling them that they need to tweet more and blog more and make more posts on Facebook and all this other stuff. But the thing is, I've never believed this. My attitude's always been that you're going to have certain people in certain markets that are going to want to hear everything you have to say, and then you're going to end up with other people who don't want to hear anything you have to say. And this is not only going to depend on your market, but also your industry. So every now and then when I encounter a company or a business owner or an individual who's really active in social media and wants everyone to know about it and follow them on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything else, I like to take a closer look and find out exactly what they're doing and if anyone's even listening. Now, one such group I find that are really active on social media and seem to really believe that everyone wants to follow them are real estate agents. And in this episode, I found one such agent who's incredibly active. And this guy, well, let's take a closer look. So let's start with who this guy is, and his name is Dave Al Fasi. And Dave Al Fasi's claim to fame is out of 68,000 real estate agents in the province of Ontario, Canada, he's in the top 1%. He's also won all kinds of awards for being a top performer, but then who hasn't? And also he's featured in lots of television, radio, and newspaper articles as a real estate expert. Now, as we can see here from his open house sign, he's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Now that is a full cart of social media activity, and it takes a lot of time to keep all this stuff going. Now, before we dive into each social network that he's on and see how interested people really are in hearing from him, what's interesting to note is this sign, as most signs real estate agents use letting people know of open houses, would be at the side of the road. And chances are you're going to be driving past this sign at a pretty high rate of speed. So to be able to see these little tiny icons, which are probably about 1.5 inches in diameter, along with no identifying way of finding them, well, you got to wonder if there's any point to him even having these on this sign. All right, so let's jump right into Smiley Guy, Mr. Dave Al Fasi's social networks and find out who's really listening to him. Let's start with Dave's Facebook page. He's got 869 likes. Now that's not too bad for a real estate agent. Now as for posts, there's some listings, some articles, but the thing is the articles take you to other people's websites, not his own. What's interesting is if you look at who's liking his page, well, not only are they always him, but it's usually the same people over and over. Now, if we move on to Dave's Twitter account, you'll see he's got almost 2,600 followers. But what's really interesting is the fact that he's got no engagement. I mean, virtually no likes, no comments, no retweets, no nothing. I have to wonder if anyone's even seeing these posts. Now let's move on to Instagram. You can see here he's got a combination of business and personal stuff. And what's interesting is he's got about 2,000 followers. And the posts are getting a decent amount of likes, but virtually no comments. Now if we move on to Dave's YouTube account, this is where things get really interesting. You'll see he's got 48 subscribers, which is not too bad for this industry. And most of his posts are simply walkthroughs of homes that he has listed, ranging from about 10 to 150 views, which again is normal for this industry. After all, there aren't hundreds of people who want to walk through someone else's kitchen. Now, the part of his YouTube channel that really strikes me as odd is the area where he's showing clips of him on other people's TV shows. Which, interesting, is the views go from, let's say, around 10 or 20 or perhaps even peaking at 100 to like thousands. And the thing is, the numbers are all really close. So if you look at the 4 videos he has posted, you'll see there's 5,789 views, then 5,750 views, 5,734 views, peaks up a little bit at 5,862 views. What's with that? Who's watching all these videos? And it seems like when they watch one video, they're watching them all. But what's really interesting is the fact there are no comments, no likes, no shares, no nothing. It's as if people are just watching the videos and walking away. Now, it could be argued that people aren't going to comment much on a video of a walkthrough. They're not going to comment on people's kitchens or bathrooms or whatever. But here's the thing. Why is he just showing walkthroughs? If he's got this much of a following, shouldn't he be showing like videos giving advice or ideas or empowering people or educating people? I think that would be more of a draw than simply giving someone a tour of their closet. As for Pinterest, he's got 197 followers. He's following 179 people, 20 boards, 3 likes, and 315 pins, most of which are simply content that he's found from other Pinterest boards. So the big question is, who cares? I mean, who's looking at his Pinterest site? It would appear next to nobody. And then there's LinkedIn, the one place that anybody from any profession can truly shine. And yet Dave over here has missed the opportunity. If you check out his LinkedIn profile, you'll see he's got over 500 connections, which isn't that big a thing anymore. It's like everybody's got over 500 connections. But what's interesting is if you scroll through his profile, there's no articles. There's nothing that he's created, no content to really showcase his skills as a top 1% real estate agent. Now, I also notice he's part of a lot of exclusive industry groups, which for the most part is for his benefit, not for the benefit of his customers. Now, whether he's created any content and posted there, I can't tell you because I'm not a member of those groups. So my advice for Dave over here, and the same advice I would have for any business owner, is check your ego at the door. You don't have to be on every social platform there is. That the fact is, a lot of people just don't want to hear about what you have to say. In the case of a real estate agent, chances are you're only going to be using one every time you want to buy or sell a home, which might be anywhere 2, 3, perhaps even 4 times over the course of your entire life. Between those times, it could be 10, 20 years. And in that time, do you really want to hear from a real estate agent? Chances are not. So for Dave over here, I would suggest dropping Twitter and Pinterest and trying to put more real, meaty, knowledge-sharing content on YouTube. I think that would really help him out. At the end of the day, though, it's really about you or anyone picking a platform they're comfortable with, that it's easy for them to create content, but as well understanding where their market is. What do their clients want to see? Do they want to see pictures where you'd use a site like Instagram or Pinterest? Do they want to know knowledge where you'd share it through LinkedIn or Facebook, or a combination of? It's up to you to figure that out and then create the ideal content to put you in the position where you become the preeminent source in your industry. And finally, it just might be that based on your profession or your unique way of doing business, that social media may just not be right for you at all. Maybe there's other ways you can reach your market. Maybe going old school, direct mail campaign, or just getting out there and networking face to face. So there you are, some ideas for not only you, but perhaps even for Dave over here. Speaking of which, I really need to return this sign. Anyway, as always, I'm Marc Gordon, and you've been watching Marc TV, and I'll see you next time. Hey, it's me again. You know, if you've got any questions or comments about this episode or any ideas for future shows, just throw them at me. Or if you have a question about your own business, perhaps your website, your social media campaign, you want me to take a look at it and kind of dissect it and give you some ideas, throw that at me as well. And of course, if you do so, I'm going to give you a free shout out for the whole world to hear. Yeah, because why not? That's how we roll over here. So be sure to throw any ideas, any comments at me, and you know I'll answer back, because that's how we roll.